Hi. I've just finished watching The Other Side of the Wind. I've still got the hold page up for Netflix. I literally finished watching it 5 minutes ago, and I really want to talk about it. um, it's Orson Welles' last film. Orson Welles died 33 years ago. This film has been in a vault, trapped there because Wells had to cast around for funding. He wound up defaulting on loans. There were legal issues, and the rights and all the footage was confiscated by banks and insurance companies. And it's taken this long for people to have the will and the ability to untangle this horrible legal knot, and for Netflix to come along and just stump up the cash and pay for it to be finished under the supervision of super producer Frank Marshall, who was a production associate on the movie, and Peter Bogdanovich, who was Orson Welles' protege and a very successful director in his own right, and who also acts in the movie. It's about a film director in the early 70s who is trying to keep pace with the way cinema is going by making a very experimental new feature. He's a very highly lauded filmmaker. He's followed around by all these cineasts and journalists and people firing questions at him to interview him. He's Orson Welles. He is a self-portrait of Welles fused with a lot of elements of Ernest Hemingway. It is a ruthless self-portrait. The lead character is Jake Hannaford, played by John Huston, and it is a fantastic performance by Huston. He gives such richness and detail to this character. There is so much surface, but you know that there's so much underneath. He is only superficially superficial. The film is assembled in a style which I can only call found footage. It's it's boggling my mind as I have to try and process this to talk to you now, because Wells invented found footage a decade before anyone else. The Blair Witch Project. Dinner's ready. The Blair Witch Project is regarded as the first major found footage movie, but it dates back at least to Cannibal Holocaust, which is basically the same idea. Found footage means simply that the footage of the film of which the film is composed is shot by characters within the film itself. Now, often it's because it's a horror movie and the characters died before able to show it to anyone, and their footage has been assembled to show what really happened. With the case of The Other Side of the Wind, there are people everywhere in the film with cameras, interviewers, film fans. Hannaford himself is a film obsessive, and we get the impression that he's just got people filming everywhere to document what's going on at the conclusion of photography of The Other Side of the Wind, and then following him to his 70th birthday party, where most of the film takes place at his ranch outside Los Angeles. I'm talking so fast because I'm so excited. But the whole film is assembled from this colossal montage, and it feels totally natural. It's amazingly new and modern, and it looks like it was made this year by someone like Steven Soderbergh. It looks exactly like Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers, and apparently he saw footage from this before he shot Natural Born Killers, and he basically ripped this movie off. It is a film that is totally modern, and yet it is totally of its time. Wells is laughing at the modern techniques of filmmaking of the late 60s and early 70s, the new Hollywood, French New Wave, but he's also using those movements to do something fresh himself. Even though he's mocking the notion of that freshness, he's also employing it himself in an attempt to do something completely different from anything else in his filmography. He's laughing at himself as he's doing this. The film is basically one big joke at his own expense. Even down to the fact that we're told right at the start that Jake Hannaford died at the end of the movie on his 70th birthday. Wells died aged 70 in 1985, long after he'd given up hope of finishing the movie. It's an absolutely incredible piece of work. It is mind-blowingly brilliant, clever, textured. it is totally, I keep saying, it is totally modern, and yet it fits perfectly with its own times. It's everything I hoped it would be. I can't think of higher praise to come from myself, rather than generally, than that. It's the holy grail of lost films. It's like it's the cinematic equivalent of reading Jesus's memoirs, and the word of God is exactly what you hoped it would be. Right now, this is the movie of the year. It's almost 6 minutes this has been running, and I'm struggling to talk about it. This is the problem with doing these first takes. I have to deliver my opinion almost immediately. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay for whatever reason, but I'm trying to do this straight away, and I haven't had enough time to process this. But it's an incredible piece of work. It's another masterpiece. We knew Orson Welles was a genius. Citizen Kane, his first film, made when he was 10 years younger than I am now, proved that he was a genius. And that's also quite a depressing thought from my point of view. He was 26 when he made that. And he proved over and over again what an extraordinary man he was, what a unique, perfect talent he was. And with The Other Side of the Wind, he's jumped out of the grave more than 30 years later and just given us a little reminder that he was maybe the greatest filmmaker of the 20th century. I mean, if a movie is like that, how can it not be the film of the year?